Here at Cone's Creamery, you can get your gelato shaped like a dog or several other animals. All of this coming from an idea that Vina got while traveling. The victim's roommate, Mark Anderson, says random acts of violence don't usually happen in this neighborhood, but he feels his neighbors should be ready in case an incident occurs. In order to help the kids in Guatemala, the students at Oak Grove High School decided to roll up their sleeves, grab some sponges, get a little dirty, and clean up some cars. Paramedics say if you're going to the fair, you should have 1 bottle of water for every cup of lemonade you have in order to stay properly hydrated throughout the day. Even with all the rain that has fallen over the last couple of days, there is still plenty to do at the West Otter Tail County Fair.
Well, there was a new kind of history class floating alongside the banks of the Red River.
KVRR's Tim Scott is live from the river where dozens of people learned about the waterway's history in a unique way. Tim?
Well, thank you so much, TJ and Allison. In the waters behind me, people could paddle their way through the river in kayaks and canoes, while also taking up a history lesson from local historians. But for one local historian, the combination of kayaking and history go hand in hand.
Well, I love local history, absolutely love local history. I love sharing it with other people, and I love canoeing on the Red, and it's a great mix.
For the past few years, Peel has hopped in a canoe and provides a history lesson to some eager students as they fight the current in the Red River. The waterway separating Minnesota and North Dakota provides a lens to a different time in the two states' histories.
In 1890, all the saloons in North Dakota closed. They could stay open in Minnesota. So by 1900, there were 45 bars operating in Moorhead, and the river was a divide between us.
The River Keepers and the Moorhead Park District have done their part to make sure more people have the chance to pick up some fun facts about the river.
It's really been great to see the interest in recreation on the river in safe ways increasing more and more every year. And so we started these a few years ago, and they've just become to be more popular every year.
The canoe rides go hand in hand with Peel's passion to bring history to life.
We believe in local history. We believe that you can learn from the past, and you can enjoy hearing stories about how people lived in the past and make that personal connection to the people that lived here. Their lives weren't that much different from us today.
And there was so much interest in the canoe rides today that the River Keepers actually had to turn people away. Now the next ride will take place on August 15th, where people can learn about the animals that live in the river. Reporting live from the Red River, Tim Scott, KVRR Local News. Each strike of the bell carried a name, a date, a rose, and a silent moment of gratitude. The bell echoed across downtown Grand Forks 61 times, one for each local law enforcement official who lost their lives to serve and protect their communities.
These people all gave their lives, to make this place a better place to live.
For the last 8 years, officers from the northern Red River Valley came together to celebrate those who paid the ultimate sacrifice and to remember the magnitude of wearing the badge each day.
We truly do need to show respect for those that came before us and those that gave the ultimate sacrifice. I know for our department we have thankfully only lost one officer, but that's one too many.
That one loss came on July 19, 1978, when East Grand Forks Patrol Officer Kenneth Olson lost his life in the line of duty.
He was a dedicated officer. He was a quiet, gentle guy.
40 years after her husband passed away, Andress has always been grateful for how the East Grand Forks Police Department has been there for her.
We had been married exactly 4 months to the day. He was 25, and so ill-equipped to handle such a tragedy. The officers were good to rally around.
Each year, Andress puts down a rose to celebrate her fallen husband.
It's something the family lives with every day, and it's something the officers left behind live with every day.
Days like today remind the community that officers go above and beyond to protect and serve. Tim Scott, KVRR Local News. While the Metro Flood Diversion Authority awaits a decision from the Minnesota DNR on the new diversion plan, Governor Burgum and Senator Hoeven stressed the need for flood protection across the valley.
This is a huge project. You're talking more than $2 billion, but really important because this is a dynamic, growing region, and we need that permanent flood protection.
This led Senator Hoeven to make a pitch for $35 million in federal funds to help with immediate flood protection in Fargo, as well as design and engineering costs for the project.
That's a good thing. We were thinking maybe 10, but an extra 25 is great. So that was good to hear.
One of the major topics discussed at the meeting was the progress with Plan B and how the new proposal will decrease the need for flood insurance across the region.
We'll be seeing ever increasing rates, and those rates could be increasing substantially, and so this is a huge burden. We're talking tens of millions of dollars a year.
Plan B was derived from a joint task force between Governors Burgum and Dayton, and the authority hopes the DNR approves their application this fall. Plan B comprises of more land devoted to diversion in North Dakota as opposed to Minnesota.
There are some areas that we've bought out with federal dollars, so that may require legislation to go in and be able to go through those areas with construction.
Since the task force was completed last fall, Governor Burgum is pleased with the results thus far.
The work the task force did and everyone since that time frame has really stayed focused on the original goals, and the goals were to make sure that we could achieve 100-year flood protection for all the citizens that live and work in this area.
Tim Scott, KVRR Local News. It might look calm outside the Fargo DMV, but once you walk through the doors, several people would say otherwise.
Horrible. I've been waiting over 2 hours, and come to find out, they couldn't even help me.
It's really discouraging. I see a lot of people come in, look at the line, then walk right back out. It's kind of a little bit of a tension when you walk in there, like everyone's just kind of ready to snap.
Some people say they could not renew their licenses since they could not provide the proper paperwork. One person told us that an employee could not read his social security card and had to turn him away. These people say the longer waiting times play a negative role on the rest of their day.
The place is packed, it's hot, we have little ones, and sitting there when it's like that and there's nowhere to stand or sit. You know, when we were here last week, there was probably almost 100 people in that waiting room.
But the North Dakota DOT says it's normal for there to be long lines at this time of year.
It's typical in the summer that we have a lot more kids coming in to get their permits, coming back in after 12 months to get their driver's license. It's the time of year when we get a lot of seasonal workers coming into the state.
Another factor for the increased wait times is the switch to Real ID.
Typically a normal renewal is going to take about 6 to 9 minutes, but because of Real ID, we have to get those documents you bring to us and we have to scan those. So it just takes an extra couple of minutes just to go through that process.
Some say the solution to the wait times is to just build a new home for the DMV to accommodate a growing metro.
We've had to build new schools and everything, so I mean, this building is definitely too small for our community, definitely too small. It probably has been for a long time.
Tim Scott, KVRR Local News. Fergus Falls artists Jake Crone and Molly Johnston have a vision for the city's future. As part of the Year of Play initiative, their team looks to captivate the community through projects involving active learning.
I think it's just a really fun and accessible way to get our entire community thinking about how being playful and active in our community can be really helpful in growing and just enjoying ourselves where we live.
Small communities like this have trouble attracting and retaining people, and I think anything that we can do to make the quality of life better in the city is a wonderful thing.
Year of Play has shown their presence through murals on the Riverwalk near the Otter Tail River and a small space known as People's Park right in the heart of a parking lot.
The genesis was that you can rent parking spots in Fergus Falls for $18 a month. So we saw that opportunity and we couldn't pass it up.
They want to make the most out of all spaces in Fergus Falls, paving the way for people to let their imagination flow.
We've had all kinds of people who have different professions and are interested in a lot of different things. Their creativity has just really burst out.
One of the projects the Year of Play has put in downtown Fergus Falls has been this piano, and the impact it's had on the community is easy as... With multiple projects and events staged across the city, the artists love how promoting creativity brings the community together.
There's all different types of people that can push the community forward. It's not just the people who maybe are in office or own large businesses or corporations. It's all the people who make up our town, and it's exciting. It makes people want to live here. It makes people want to stay here. So I think that's been really cool.
Tim Scott, KVRR Local News.